I'm working on cylinder head repairs. As for the heads, the exhaust valves are all new, all 12 of them, and the intake valves are old. I cleaned them, and for each one I marked which head it came from, whether it's upper or lower, and I'm lapping them in place. So it turns out I already have 3 heads done, and I still need to do 3 more. So what am I doing? We're keeping the old guides. The guides are in good condition. I'm making the seats narrower. For example, if we look at the 4th head, we can see the seats are wide here. I haven't cut them yet. And for example, if we look at the 3rd head, we can see that all the seats are already narrower. You can also see that each seat has been lapped. So now, using the 4th cylinder head as an example, I'll show exactly what I do with the heads. Let's go. you. So, I decided to pressure test the heads after all. This is already my third head. And on the first one, air is coming out from under the copper cup here. So it's not airtight. It's not the water jacket that's leaking. Upbeat. Well, the head has been sitting for about 5 minutes now. I turn it over in different ways, and there are no bubbles anywhere. So this head is fine too. So I have 3 heads left to check, and I hope they're fine too. I'll show you a bit later where the bubbles are coming from in the first one. And I'll also tell you later what I'm going to do with that head. So about half a minute has passed, and as you can see, the pressure is holding. I mean, the pressure is dropping, like I said, because the valve is releasing. So that's why the pressure is dropping. And here, as you can see, there are no bubbles. So everything is fine. I'll wait a couple more minutes, let the head sit in this position, and I'll keep adding pressure as it drops. It'll stay in this position for a couple of minutes. Then I'll turn it over with the injector facing up. Well, not the injector, but the fuel lines facing up. And I'll watch it for a couple more minutes. Let it sit like that. In general, it takes me about 5 to 7 minutes to pressure test one head. On the fourth head, we can see bubbles appearing. The pressure is... What am I going to do with the problematic heads? Installed under the injector. And this cup is... The dynamic part on this side is due to the rubber seal. Well, I don't know how well you can see it on camera, but here's the copper cup installed. On this side, the sealing is done by the rubber gasket. On this side, the cup is inserted and sealed just by the copper itself. There's a groove in the head. The copper goes in there, flares out, expands, and that's how the sealing happens. So, if air is coming from this side, from the side of the rubber gasket, and then you can take out the cup and install a new one, meaning a new cup and a new gasket. Everything there should be sealed with an anaerobic sealant. If air is coming from this side, how can we solve the problem? You can open this cup even more. There is the Y&M ice, Music C. Here is some homemade DY&M mic, Music C, DY&M message. Протяжки, так их назовем. Dynamic music, different time signatures. For example, if at the beginning it's 6, at first it's 68, then 17.1, and at the end we see the time signature is 776. The next one as well, for example, in the beginning the time signature is 740.75, then 7 and 77, and here it's already 787/85, and the next one's, for example, 7 and 6, 6/7, and 7, here it's already 797/95. So the difference in size is 1/10. So it turns out first we go through with the thinnest one, make the hole 1/10 bigger, then another 1/10 bigger. So we expand this copper sleeve there, and if needed we use the thickest one. So I found two problematic heads. I already fixed one. Now I've reinstalled the plate and supplied air again. And we can see that there are no bubbles anywhere. It's been sitting here for about 10 minutes already. I've applied pressure for the third time now, and I've checked it from all sides. We can see that everything is great. There's no air leaking anywhere. So now I'll show the whole procedure using this head as an example. And I'll also answer a question that will probably come up. Why not just replace these cups on all the heads right away to be sure? Let me explain. Even a non-original cup made by the company Febi costs about 9,000 rubles. Basically, it's just this copper cup and a sealing ring. That's it. The cost of this set is 9,000 rubles. 9 times 6, that's already 54,000 rubles. But I don't think it's worth spending that kind of money. If you can solve this problem using these kinds of punches or tools, I'm not sure what to call them. So next I'm working on the compressor. I've already done something off camera. I just want to finish it faster, so I didn't bother filming. So what have I already done? I replaced and installed a new bearing called the crankshaft, called the gear. I tightened this bolt with thread locker, so that's already installed. Connecting rods with pistons, new bearing shells, new piston, new rings, new pin, and also 2 new cylinders. Now I'm going to install them along with gasket sets. And I'm also going to install all the valve plates now. So here we have the old cylinders. Now I also need to unscrew these cooling fittings. Here's the old bearing, the bearing shells, the rings, pistons with rings. And I also replaced the gear. I actually didn't plan to replace it, but at the last moment I noticed something here. The tooth was chipped. So I took a used one I had in good condition, with all the teeth intact, and I installed it. So now I'm installing the cylinders. Then I still need to clean the valves and plates, replace the valves there, and then I install the heads. After that, I install the compressor on the engine. Today I already want to put the engine in its working position after installing the compressor. And we also have an interesting situation with the heads, but I'll tell you all about that a bit later. We're working on the compressor now. So now about the heads, as I showed earlier, I did a pressure test and some of the heads had issues. I tried to fix those problems there. Well, I had to flare that little cup and so on, so I spent some time on that. Basically, all the heads were done. All the heads held 5 atmospheres. I informed the customer that there were such problems with the heads and that I flared them. As for the cups themselves, well, I can't replace the seal without removing the cup, so as not to damage it. So I informed the customer about this and he said, let's do everything properly the way it should be done. So new cups were purchased. They were delivered in about 5 or 6 days. I don't remember exactly. So now I'm replacing the old cups with new ones. I've already replaced 5 of them. Now, using this head as an example, I'll show you how I do it. And I want to say that it was the right thing to do. That we started replacing these cups, well, because as you can see, the seal is already completely dried out. It's already in this shape. It's deformed. And basically they're all like that. Some are a bit softer, some are completely hard as a rock. So, using this head as an example, I'll show you how I replace this cup, and then I need to pressure test all 6 heads again. That is to make sure that everything is fine, that there are no problems, defects and so on, and only after that do I install the valves. And then I'll install the heads on the engine. So, regarding the engine, I installed the compressor, spent some time working on the pipes and fittings as well. So, we need to remove the cup, and for that I cut a 10mm thread in the tip. You have to do it from the injector side, since there's no way to cut the thread from this side. There's barely any opening in the head, the opening in this cup. So I cut the thread, screw in a bolt from this side, press it out with a press, then clean everything out here, replace it, install a new rubber seal, coat everything with anaerobic sealant, put the cup back in place, and then continue. I have these homemade punches, so they're step cones. Each cone is 1/10 bigger than the previous one. And I also use the press to push these punches through. Basically, the tip of the cup gets wedged and expanded, and that's how we get the seal. Alright, that's the amount of work we have. Let's get started. So I'm pressure testing again. This is already the third head. These two have been checked. So I applied pressure. As you see, 3.5 atmospheres. The head has been sitting for about 10 minutes. And as we can see, everything is perfect. Well, at first I had it up to 5. I turned the valve too much, and the pressure went up to 5 atmosphere. But of course, it's not recommended to check these heads at that pressure. There's a chance it could push out issues. For example, this plug here, right? That's why I usually set it to about 3 or 3.5. I usually give it 3 or 3.5 and then wait for a while. That's it. So as we can see, everything is fine. The pressure is holding. I won't take it off this time since I did it last time. So I'll check the remaining heads, assemble them, and hopefully install them today. Because I've already spent a lot of time messing around with these heads. I've been working on them for a long time, lapping them for several days, then pressure testing them last time, and then waiting for those cups. I've been dealing with these cups for 2 days now, so I don't even know anymore. So I decided to install the injectors right away, and I'll tighten them later when I install the fuel lines. Anyway, I'll loosen this nut, tighten the fuel line, and tighten everything evenly as usual. So why do I want to install the injectors right now? I need to measure how much the nozzle tip sticks out from the head, since our heads have been resurfaced and we replaced these cups. It should be 2 to 2.5 millimeters. As you can see, I have about 2.53, give or take, around 2.4 to 2.6 within that range. I've already done preliminary measurements. For cylinders 1 through 4, I'll need washers that are 1 millimeter thick. For the 5th and 6th cylinders, I'll need washers that are 1.5 millimeters thick. I'm tightening it on purpose now to see how much the cup deforms, plus the washer will compress and so on. So I need to apply a working load to the washer and measure the injector protrusions. That's it. Now I'll measure each head like this. So we see that the 4th cylinder is 2.93, it should be 2.5. So I remove this 1 mm washer and put in a 1.5 mm washer. Alright, that's it. I've adjusted the injector protrusion. So from the 1st to the 3rd, there's a 1 mm washer, and from the 4th to the 6th, there's a 1.5 mm washer. Alright, so I'm starting to install the cylinder heads. The heads are ready, I've shown all the work. So here I have new locating sleeves. The bolts are the old ones, I cleaned and measured them, and the gaskets are Erling, of course. So here I have the push rods and the bridges on the valves. I also checked the push rods for bending, and I also prepared the second part of the head where we have the rocker arms installed. Rocker arms will seal the joint between the head and this part with sealant. Subtitles made by Turbocharger. So I painted the engine. I also painted the manifolds. I sandblasted them and painted them. So the turbocharger is new. I also mounted the turbocharger on the manifold. And as you could see in the video, the turbocharger was painted with this shiny paint, right? And when I applied this paint, it's some kind of special paint for the exhaust system. I showed the spray can. And we can see that some kind of reaction started. So this is what we ended up with. Cracks, but that's not a big deal. I've already installed the manifold, obviously with new gaskets here and a new seal between the manifolds. I coated everything with special ceramic paste, installed the oil feed line and the oil drain line and tightened everything up. And here, since the heat exchanger isn't installed yet, I'll show it and explain it in a moment. So the work I have left is to install the heat exchanger put on the belts. I won't install the alternator yet because that bolt is inconvenient to tighten. It's much easier to tighten it on the car. The alternator will be installed on the vehicle, put on the belts, install the fan, and when the heat exchanger is installed. There's also a manifold that goes on top here, which leads to the intercooler. And basically that's it. That's all. I'm already ready to assemble. Today I want to finish the engine, and probably tomorrow the engine will already be installed in the car. And tomorrow I'll probably start working on the gearbox repair. I think the gearbox repair will take me about 4 or 5 days. Well, I'd like the car to be gone in about 7 or 8 days. About the heat exchanger, basically it's a common issue with these engines. As you can see, the aluminum has corroded in this spot and the gasket has also been eaten away here. It's not just in this spot that it's corroded. For example, if we look here, you can see pieces are already flaking off. Even under the gasket, everything's been eaten away. I don't know how well you can see it on camera. And on this side as well, you can see pitting going deeper inside. So the decision was made to purchase a new heat exchanger housing. I removed the radiator from this heat exchanger. I've already cleaned and prepared everything, so now I'm installing the radiator. The heat exchanger comes assembled with the cover and the valves are already installed there as well. We can also see there's a drain plug here, it's a cap, and I'll be unscrewing it. Here we had a fitting, and somewhere here the sensors are screwed in the oil drain as well. So now I'm laying everything out, the oil sensor, the fitting, new gaskets for the radiator, a new gasket for the heat exchanger. Basically, I'm preparing the heat exchanger and installing it. And like I said, there will be just a little bit left to do. So that means the engine is assembled. I installed a new heat exchanger housing here, a new filter, and the air manifold here. I set up the air supply to the compressor, and I've already put plugs here so that when installing the intake manifolds, nothing gets inside, no debris or foreign objects. All my intake manifolds are closed off and plugged. I also installed the green filler neck, the fan clutch, and temporarily put the alternator in place, just to see how the mounting will fit. The tension bolt here is also new. Just a reminder, the old one was broken. So I installed and tightened everything, put the belts on, because once the fan is installed, it's either impossible or very difficult to put the belts on. I don't really know. These two belts are installed and tightened. Now I'll remove these two belts from the alternator. The alternator will be installed in its place on the car, as I mentioned earlier. Well, and the belts here are just fastened with zip ties with clamps. I'll attach them here to this pipe. So I installed the pipe here. This is our crankcase ventilation. It was routed outside here, and there was just a plug here. Now our engine is after repairs, and I did it the way it should be, meaning the crankcase gases go into the air intake manifold. Tightened everything up as well. Well, that's basically it. My engine is completely ready for installation, and now I'm going to install it, so out by the gate onto the pallet. Well, I think the next shot will already be about starting the engine in the car. And I'll try to film driving out of the garage and so on. So, the engine repair costs this amount. And that includes everything. The machine work, my labor, removing and installing the engine, renting the pit and all the parts. Basically everything, absolutely everything costs this amount.
Душа, ты отойди, только трубу закрыл, он не может это.
Ну?
Ты газуйте, поиграть.
Там электронный.